Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Veronica, known as Data Geek. In this video, I will show you how to create a pivot table in Excel using customer data. First off, what is a pivot table? So a pivot table is a powerful tool in Excel that helps summarize and analyze large data sets quickly by grouping data, sorting data, and filtering data. So first off, we want to prepare the data sheet. So as you can see, right here on my header, I have a blank header name. So you want to make sure you have these filled in with all the appropriate names for your headers. Because if you don't, it will not work to create a pivot table. So for example, if I click here on my left corner upside down triangle to highlight my data, and I click on Insert, Pivot Table,
Click OK, and you will get this message.
pivot table field name is not valid. To create a pivot report, you must use data that is organized as a list with labeled columns. If you are changing the name of the pivot field, you must type a new name for the field. So that's why it is important to name these columns. Don't leave them blank. So in this case, I see that these are all years. So I'm going to name this year. Another thing I've noticed is that there are blanks. So instead of going in one by one, right-clicking and deleting these rows, faster way is simply by clicking on that upside down arrow to highlight all of the data. Go to your Home tab and look for Find and Select, and go to Special. In this Go to Special window, you will click Blanks. Click OK. Now it highlights your blanks. Within any of those blanks, right-click and select Delete, and select Entire Row, and OK. Now you see that all of your blank rows are now all gone. So now that our data is ready to get summarized into a pivot table, what you can do is you can highlight your data, making sure that every value is highlighted. So I'm going to do a Shift Control arrow down to highlight my data. Now you can create a table. This is optional. So if you're like me and do not want to create a table, you can just select this option by highlighting your data. Otherwise, you can press Control plus T and click My Table Has Headers, then click OK. Once you do that, you will see a table within inside your data. But in this case, I just highlight all of my data and click here on this tab where it says Insert, Pivot Table. So it will ask you the range. Choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. In this case, I want it in a new worksheet. And then I will click OK. Once you do that, you will see something like this. There is the pivot, table 1. And then you will see here on your right side all of these values here, which are your variable column names. So as you can see, it's SKU, customer name, email, phone number, country. And when you go to your data, it's pulling these names within those values. So back to our pivot. In this column, you can search your column name. So for example, if you want to search year, there will be your year there. You can select it and it automatically fills into your values, but you can click, hold down your clicker and drag and drop wherever you want that. So this is good to have this search here because sometimes when you have a large amount of data and a large amount of columns, you can search your column name. So we will get started on creating a pivot table. So as you can see, I dragged and drop. So if I want to go ahead and see how many customers came in by country, I will click on country, drag and drop in rows. So you can see my country names. I want to see the values of those by country. So I see there's 16 Australia, Brazil 17, Canada 27, and so on and so forth. Say I want to go deeper into my data and look by year. You can drag and drop into columns. Now you will see Australia. In 2021, we had 2 customers. In 2022, we had 2. In 2023, we had 11. And in 2024, we had 1. And then there's the grand totals. Also, if you want to do by product type, you can put that drag and drop into filters. And there's your filters. You can go, let's see how many laptops we sold by country and by year. In 2023, we only sold 1. Australia, Canada, 1 in 2023, and so on and so forth. So you can break it down by product, by year. Also, if you want to look, instead of your years shown here in the columns, and you want it into your filters, you can do that as well. So let's go and do something else. So for example, we have a country. We want to look at, say, month in columns. We want to look at price in values. Now you can see that this is how much we are making in January, February, March, April, May, June, July. But it's all of July, all of February, all of March. So if we want to break this down by year, say in 2021, we sold in March 6,329. There's your totals, June, and then your grand totals for 2021. Also, if you don't want to do it by month and you want to do it by year, you can do your columns by year. And here's your column. And say you don't want country, you want to do it by product type. Now you have it by product type, year, your grand totals. And if you want to, again, do your country in filters, you can put that and then just say, okay, well, how much in France? Breaks it down by country. Also, if you want to do Australia and Brazil, you can select multiple items. So you just click here, and then you can do Australia and Brazil to select both. Okay. And then now there's a combination of those 2 countries. And now we will put country back and just leave it like this. By product type. So it says row labels. You can rename this by double clicking in here and put product type and name it what you want. If you want to look at this total here, you can double click and it will give you another sheet here on the bottom for detail 1. And it will show you those items that made that amount. So if you're wanting to look further into it, you can just double click on these tablets, 10,000. And again, these are all the tablets for 2021 with these prices. Also, this is the table. So if you highlight the table, see that little cursor, how it changed, and you can move it where you want it to move. So back to our pivot table. Another thing you can do is you can sort your data. So product type, you can click here on the drop down and you can do sort A to Z, sort Z to A. You can also refresh your table by clicking anywhere within your table, right click and hit refresh. So the refresh button is a good way to refresh your table because sometimes you may go into your data and change something within your data. And if you change this and go back and it doesn't show in your table, you would just simply right click and refresh your table. Now we will add a pivot chart. So click anywhere inside the pivot table, go to Insert tab, click Pivot Chart. So what would be recommended is a bar chart or a column chart. So here is a column chart and a bar chart. So let's do a bar chart. I will click OK.
Click on it and drag it where you want, or you could even resize it.
So just to keep in mind that anytime you update your pivot, this chart will be updated. This is how to create a pivot table. If you found this tutorial helpful, hit the like button, subscribe for more Excel and data analysis tutorials. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.